Model creation, day 2, side panel construction. Alright, so we have geometry for the hood at this point. And to create the side panel on this, I've created a few curves. You guys want to make as many curves as you need in terms of the actual construction. Notice that I didn't do anything for the front panel yet. You can create a workflow like this. I've just curved out the the hood. I modeled the hood. I'm curving out the side panel. Now I'm going to model the side panel. Then I can curve out the front. Doing it like this, actually, the pros I think of this actually help you with understanding each individual shape in terms of, I've just curved this out. Now I know how to move, place a geometry over that. But it does take a while, and you do get caught up into slowing down in terms of curving everything out. Now if you curve everything out, which is great, I think the con of that is that you're going to have to, when you set in your polygons, you may find out that you need a little bit more curves in a particular section, or you may not need curves in some areas. But it's all up to you on an individual level. Let's see, I'm going to go into the side view. Now we talked about surface flow, and I talked about the top hat construction. In this case, ideally, and hopefully people are watching this video with the volume on, and because I'm going to go back into using my create polygon tool here. Oftentimes people like to just go in and create this point here. I actually hate to show this because then sometimes people will watch the video and go and skip and say, oh yeah, that's the way you do it. This is not the way to do it. This takes a lot of cleanup. You have a there's no quads created. There's no surface flow that's created. It's just a general shape, and it's wrong. Just in case you have the volume off. So do not do that. What you want to do is work from the interior of this particular shape out. We're going to work from this interior of the shape out. This sort of reflects, in general, the top hat shape. And we're going to work from here. I'll show you that right there. And I love this part of it because I had a student who was wheelchair bound and had motor function. He couldn't do the curves aspect of this, and so we sat down to find out a different way for him to construct this, and utilizing this process made things easier. And I said, wow, let's adapt this for everything. So I'm not going to, like I said, I don't like to do things. I'm not going to make one wheel and then I'm going to remodel that and then remodel another wheel 4 times. That's silly. I'm just going to make one wheel and then duplicate it. So the same thing, whenever I have something that I can use in other places, I'm going to do that. So last tool use, create polygon tool. Whoops, that's not it. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and just snap here. I'm going to snap into the spots where I think there's a significant change, or where there should be a significant edge loop. That's this shape here. Notice this edge comes over here, shape here, one here, there. Go right down the center of this, come up over here, come up over here. You notice this edge right here, there's one right there, there's one underneath there, and then come down right here. I'm just going to get these little points in here. Now that I've gotten this far, actually let me go all the way down here, come back up. I'm just going to go ahead and match them on the other side. Doesn't have to be perfect because I'm not looking for perfection in the beginning. This is block out. We got to make sure everything is there. The client wants to see a car, not just a perfect hood. So I'm going to actually make these quads because I want to make sure I maintain proficiency. Just drawing in my edges with the split polygon tool. I'm hitting Y for the last recent tool use every time I finish this. Cool, this is nothing complicated. Looks like I have something else here. You don't want to get really detailed. I'm only going to the core points. If it doesn't look 100% circular, that's fine. Actually, I know what's going to happen here. Come up there. I forgot one. Hit Y, last tool you use. Good. Alright, with this shape, very important. We're going to just grab these edges here. I'm going to grab this edge here and extrude out. I hit the extrude button. Now I'm going to scale them out and go this way. And now all I'm going to do is take these and line them up. Modeling to me is just pretty much connecting the dots whenever I have a reference like this, because I can see the shape happen right in front of me quite easily. I don't have the front end construction done, but look I have a lot of points that are matching up, so I'm just going to leave this as is. I'm not going to mess with this too much. Now we're going to move, I'm not going to move this one. This one should have gone over here. Snap that, lock that, snap, that should go here. Oh, that went far. Not bad. This is going to happen too. I thought I snapped the curve, but apparently I didn't. I'm going to take everything on here, just in case you guys do the same thing. Just take everything on here, grab that, snap the curve. Now that's on the curve as much as possible. Take a few of these pieces, snap that, lock it. Do the same thing over here. Lock that. And then let's push these back. Alright, generalizing, there we go. Alright, back to the side view. Let's go up, let's create the rest of this top hat. Extrude up. You notice when I showed you guys the incorrect way to do this, there wasn't anything. You had to struggle to put everything together. But if you notice what I'm working with now, I have nothing but quads in here. Great example of this. So, and the reason why we do this is because you're going to get proper surface flow. Ideally, someone wants to do this, to say come up here and then drag this over here and then bring this up here. Again, no. Don't do it that way. You've just interrupted your surface flow. You've created a circle. You want to come straight up. I'll show you why. It's actually one of my favorite parts to do in this car. Let's sew this up. Sew this here. Now that we got that. This is pretty much the front end. This is the core front end that I'm going to work with. Guess what? It's the same in the back. So, center pivot. I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm going to move it to the back. This is why I believe we can get this car done in a good amount of time, because we're saving ourselves a lot of work. Wireframe unshaded. Good. Let's just go ahead and bring this all the way up. With a little bit of manipulation, your back end is actually created quite fast. I'm going to keep that here. And all you're going to do is just move points to line them up for the back. This is actually, looks like it's actually creating this shape. The diagram will tell you what you need to do next. And it's sort of surprising that it works out that way. Let's just delete this. So lining that up, this right here as well. It looks a little deceptive, but I'll play with that a little bit. Nothing's perfect at this point. It's not perfection. Do you have a 4-door or do you have a 2-door coupe? Figure it out, because in this case I have a 4-door. I'm just going to go ahead and pull this back. I don't interrupt any of these edges. The rocker panel, I'm going to grab all of these. I'm going to slide all these along the curve right there. Bring this up. Here we go, right there. Actually, this doesn't even matter so much. I'm going to redraw this again, but I'm going to let Maya do the math. And by that happening, because I got distracted by the, I got confused by the chair diagram actually being in there. There's actually another shape in here. There we go. So keep it like that. I'll go ahead and save my scene. I'll call this, I'm out of my project folder. Scenes. We're doing side creation, side panel creation. So now we come back to this shape here, and let me get off of X-ray so you guys can see this clearly. Now that I made this and I duplicated this shape and altered it to support this, let's go ahead and move this back. Very simple. How do I make the door? Grab all this, extrude it. And what you'll notice quickly is how much of the door is done, or how much of your car is actually finished. Another edge underneath there.
So do you still want us to make the wireframe for the entire car?
Hang on real quick. Hold your question until this finishes. Alright, so I'll go into the X-ray. Actually, I want to, since this is getting lopsided, it starts from the top here, I want to bring this all the way down. I'm going to go ahead and combine these together. And then we're going to merge these. And then I'll bring this up. There. So if you notice that there's an edge that comes all the way through here. So sometimes if you didn't do this the way I did it and you try to connect all your edges, it can be very confusing and complicated, and you end up creating a lot of edges that you don't necessarily need. But with this process, it keeps everything consistent. So I'm going to go to my insert edge loop tool. You can already see some bumps in there. But if you notice, I just dropped that in. This line is actually coming up, going through, and flowing the way it should. I would actually have a point here, and I would bring this all the way down. It's actually going to be here. And just from that, I'm creating what I call surface flow. All these edges are flowing through the geometry and reacting and supporting the car itself, or that shape itself. And from that point we can eventually start to break this off, but we'll talk about that in a different video. But this is pretty much it, and just from the time I've talked and demonstrated this, you can see how much of your car can get finished. There's an edge missing on that. And if you look at this, let's go from the X-ray here. If you look at this, still need to pop everything out, but there's not a lot of geometry. There's not a lot of edges, crazy edges going anywhere. The same thing for you. You don't want to get really crazy with your stuff right off the bat. We got to block this out. Great thing about this, all I have to do next is refinement. So when I start dropping in edges, things are starting to flow properly. So forth. Or I'm using to edge ring and split, duplicate, and so forth. I'm letting Maya do the math and giving me an evenly flowed surface. So after this, I think we'll call it a day on that, and then we'll go into the front end creation on Monday.